Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, his Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Upashama Prakarana, and we are moving towards section 54. The context at this stage is sadhana of sage Uddalaka, and he has completed his sadhana. He attained Jivan Mukti. All the siddhis came before him, and he was not tempted by them. Now, more profound insight is being given into the goal of life, liberation. And that's the offering on the Christmas Eve, because that's the highlight of Jesus' teaching. Take up the cross. The moment you have taken up, and be sure that you don't exist after you take the cross. Self-effacement. You are Jivan Mukta. So keep up the cross with you and continue to work. That's horizontal vision intercepted by the vertical. I'll give you a deeper meaning of this. Horizontal vision is bhava pratyaya. Bhava pratyaya, when you watch a cinema show, there are two aspects. One, you are involved with the pictures, the story that goes on. The story can bring about absence of things, presence of things, but the entire projection movement is the presence of projection. Presence of projection must move away to reveal what is the reality behind the projection. That's the screen. So one is your movement, all your experience and evolution is in the realm of projection. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Chitta's projections. All you are experiencing is through your mind stuff. It's a tough thing, but and all your story of evolution, from bondage to release, they relate to your mental process. When the mind itself has been withdrawn completely, then there's nothing but the reality. But all through the mind's projections, the reality was supporting every experience. The screen was the reality. If it was not there, nothing would shine forth. That screen is the light of lights. So that's This is the central core of all religions of the world. The religious people may believe in it or not, doesn't matter. Gods, Siddhas, Lord Shiva, surrounded by his attendants, and other divinities, all presented themselves before Uddalata, offering their benedictions to the sage. It's difficult to understand, but you must realize if one attains enlightenment, you have discovered I am Brahman. You understand the glory of Brahman. When we think of Brahman, there are three stages. Sagun Sakar, Sagun Nirakar, Nirgun Nirakar. Sagun Sakar. You view God with form and divine attributes. Sakar is form. Sagun means attributes, qualities of God. And that's how you begin your sadhana. But in this stage, you must realize God made you and you are making the God. You are fashioning God in your image. And sages have allowed it, because that's the only way one can evolve. If you don't have any image that matches up with your practical reality, you cannot even start anything. So God is presented in the form of Sagun Sakar. Now at this stage, the scriptures bring out so many gods. Sagun Sakar, Shiva, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, all the forms that you can think of, and all the forms presented by all religions of the world. They are Sagun Sakar. And that's the way you start. If you go further, advance, you hold on to Sagun Sakar, but your deeper understanding becomes Sagun Nirakar. Akar, form, you understand, is childish stage. Form is only, just like we were swimming, you need a support. So that support, if you are always supported, you are not really swimming. So if you start swimming, support moves away. But you can hold on to the support as well as swim. So that's the subtle point. Third stage, Nirguna Nirakar. You are entering into a state where mind becomes completely calm. And you dive into discover. You are moving away from the cinema show to the screen. In that movement, all your mental concepts are removed and you don't need it. Automatically they drop away and there is revelation. Brahman alone is. That's called Nirguna Nirakar. You have led your chitta to such a state of purity that understanding begins to shine through your chitta. Deep down in your heart, you may be using words for God, but in your heart you realize all that you are saying is pointing a finger. You are not really describing God. God cannot come in your descriptions. You can choose best of the literature and describe God as absolute bliss. Another person may say, no, you should say absolute bliss. Third one may say, tell 100 absolute and then say bliss. I'm joking, but I don't understand. No matter what you say, the best you can say, but you have not really touched God. So now in deep samadhi, you are not dealing with words. Your mind has become so calm that Brahman is reflecting in that mind. And that reflection transcends your mind and everything. So that type of experience is called Nirguna Nirakar. Compared to Nirgun Nirakar, Sagun Sakar becomes inferior. So in a storyline, sages are adored by all gods and goddesses. All Sagun Sakar aspects bow down to Nirgun Nirakar experience. That's the meaning behind. Another point to understand, if you are becoming profound devotee of God, all concepts of God are automatically being fulfilled by you. If you are devotee of Nirgun Nirakar, you have pleased Rama, you have pleased Krishna, you have pleased Shiva, you have pleased all. I'm speaking allegorical language. And therefore, movement to Nirgun Nirakar allows you to have the blessings of all gods and goddesses, all saints and sages. The mind of the sage rose beyond joy and sorrow. If you have gone beyond the world, even if you go in deep sleep, which is an example for going beyond the world. You don't really go beyond, but at least you go to a state of unconscious, deep unconscious. The world is veiled out of your vision. But that experience itself illustrates that the real you is not exhausted in the world of relativity. You are not confined to waking state, dream state, or as well as in deep sleep state. You are totally different. Every day when you sleep, you are being given that type of lesson. But human intellect is wild to go after politics and many other things of this world. Not after the who am I? Through satsanga, etc., you become deeply involved in that, because that's the most profound inquiry. For the sake of self, everything becomes important and dear. That self, therefore, is most surprising, most with greatest wonder and effulgence. It's the greatest treasure. The mind of the sage rose beyond joy and sorrow. He attained a state known as anananda. Here again, literally means joyless. What you think of your joy is so little compared to what absolute bliss is. So, human mind thinks of happiness in the form of happiness. Something has happened. Something has made you different. You were previously in a state of being deficient, and you gained something and your deficiency is being fulfilled. That's called joy. That type of joy is led by your karma. Different karmas operate in different ways, allowing your mind to have experience of sattva. And through sattva, your mind enjoys a reflection of divine bliss. In brief, whenever you think of spirituality will make you happy, your happiness that you conceive of is not real. Spirituality will not make you happy nor miserable. Spirituality goes beyond your concept of joy and sorrow. And in other writings, what you get is absolute mauna, silence. So it is anananda, the joyless state, since it is the negation of all concepts of a happiness based upon the world of relativity. Put it in a very simple way, human mind always looks for happiness, progress, and attainment in the world of time and space. All the happiness can come if they are put together. It is called alpam, little. Still simpler illustration. All illuminations of the sun. These illuminations are more interesting than the sun. Put them all illuminations of all times, it's very vast, together. Can it equal the sun? So all this illumination is called alpam, little. The reality behind all that is the truth, the infinite. One side is little, another side is infinite. Alpam and bhuma. He who has enjoyed the bliss of liberation, the bliss of realizing the self, he is not tempted by the pleasures of the earth. Pleasures of the earth, pleasures that you experience through embodiments. You can continue to be embodied in different levels. But through embodied state, you cannot experience the infinite. In other words, if you are identified with your body, the bodily existence will never be perfect in this world. You are basically mortal, even from an ordinary point of view, and you cannot hold on to things of the world. And the things of the world themselves are not immortal. So the mortal one pursuing perishable things, that's the strange predicament. So how can this status tempt one who has glimpsed the highest goal? So once you have glimpsed it and pursuing it, the world will not distract you. The world no longer becomes your temptation. I'm talking of the highest level. The attainment is progressive. Gradually you go on overcoming temptations, coming to a higher level, and what tempted you before doesn't mean anything. You are a child with so many toys, you see a better toy in another child's hand, you are tempted by it. You grow up, and even as a child you have a grown up state. Then you are not tempted, you want to grow up. How long can you go on staying with these toys? He who has attained liberation is not drawn to the objects of the world, whether he lives for a short time or for thousands of years. Again, the duration of time after he has attained enlightenment, that duration of time for the body, that doesn't mean anything to a sage. A cloud that has allowed the sun to pass through. Now what has made the cloud so important? The sun passing through. And even while the sun is passing through, cloud does not have any stability. It's an illusion. It's a mass of moisture. In brief, whether the cloud is there or is not there, the revelation of the sun is in no way affected. Whether your body and mind is there or is not there, you have attained enlightenment. You have attained enlightenment. Stay with your body as long as your karma maintains the body. While staying in the body, you are in no way restricted by the body. You must realize all this is the experience at the highest climax. Your movement is progressive with great patience. This is indeed the highest abode. Having reached this, a sage is no longer deluded by the world process. He who has enjoyed heavenly gardens, such a person cannot revel in a forest of thorny bushes. Now compare to that experience of attaining enlightenment and have the bliss of the Absolute, the Bhuma, the infinite, and or staying with the world where happiness is little and everything ends up with mortality. So the world looks like a garden of thorny bushes, no flowers. When you have a choice of a garden full of blossoms that never wither, and or a garden full of thorns, that garden will be interesting if you are a camel. If a person becomes an emperor, he does not revert to poverty and humiliation. All these are illustrations. Don't take it literally. The Yogeshwara wants you to become an emperor. Illustration that if you have been poor and now you have come to a state of great power and wealth, you become an emperor. Can you be tempted by going back to the same poverty-stricken condition? No way. Having attained enlightenment, no way can you slip back. In the same manner, having attained the blissful state of liberation, a sage does not turn back to the objects of the world. Gods and other celestial beings requested the sage to get into their celestial chariots in order to grace them with his divine presence. This is all allegorical way to explain people living life led by karma. Their highest aspiration is to enjoy, to be placed in such a position where there is immense pleasure. Not joy, not the bliss, pleasure. And that's called Swarga, astral plane of heavenly enjoyment. And so, this type of description that a sage is being invited by Indra and many other gods, come, grace them, implying come and have a party with us. That has no attraction for a sage. He graciously, simply bows out from them. They spoke of the glory of heavenly worlds, urging him to come and enjoy celestial pleasures. But the sage graciously rejected them. He passed his time roaming in the picturesque valleys of the mountains. Now, this is again allegorical to describe the status of enlightenment. Your description comes to match up with your concept of enjoyment. But in your concept, everything has a limitation. Every flower withers. Every good experience subsides. But imagine it is a garden of heavenly flowers that never wither. So, if again another point, this is called affirmation. Even before you attain samadhi, allow your mind to have a little picture of what samadhi would look like. And the picture would be as if you are entering into a garden. Think of the gardens you have experienced. Bring to your mind a beautiful garden where all the trees have golden leaves And all the blossoms are the best blossoms your mind can ever. And all the birds are swans. And all the trees are bringing out the light of the sun, cascading through the big trees. This affirmation will allow you to succeed in samadhi. You will not just stay with the affirmation, automatically your movement will be towards samadhi. At times he entered into profound samadhi, maintaining that state, sometimes for a day, sometimes for a month, sometimes for a year or more. Again, this is not to be taken literally, that there will come a time when you will suddenly sit in samadhi and it stays for a month. Not so. It is an internal state. Spiritual movement, to understand progress, or to understand two words. One is avastha and sthiti. One word is sthiti, another is avastha. Sthiti means where you are established. Avastha, like a mood, it comes and goes. What does it imply? Your progress can be in the terms of avastha, in the terms of mood. Certain good karma, certain good samskaras pushed you to very high level. And it matches up with profound state of samadhi. But it is not yours, it is just a mood. You catch a glimpse. And one who has attained a higher level has a moment, has a certain duration of coming down to any lesser level. But when he comes down, it is a mood. He has not really come down. And that has to be understood. Otherwise, you always want to see things in a mathematical way. We have finished yama, now we are doing niyama, now finished niyama. Not like that. What you think you have finished, you will get back again. But when you get back, you are not really getting back. You are just swaying. A tree must sway. Swaying is avastha. Moods must change. That allows you to live in the practical world. And that also allows integration to occur in your personality. So swing and sway, but don't break. If you have sthiti is the root. You are strong at your root. You have really attained a higher level. That level is yours, secure. But while it is secure, you may be moving up and down, up and down. So those up and down levels, you have to understand they are not yours. You are simply swaying. This does not mean I am not glorifying the down level, but enable you to understand, don't break down. If mind loses a higher level, Because that level that you think you have lost is your natural. So that's what is described here, that he sometimes he stayed for even 1 day, sometimes for a month. But no matter how these timings are, he is enlightened. Whether in samadhi or out of samadhi, the sage was established in Brahman. His external actions became his divine sport, and his mind, being free from all worldly vasanas, enjoyed everlasting samadhi, sahaj samadhi, for all times. The highest definition of samadhi is not an ordinary concept. It is an absolute revelation, I am Brahman. And it is spontaneous. It doesn't require any effort. With the destruction of raga and dvesha, that's likes and dislikes of the mind, he became one with Brahman. Just as the sun distributes the light in a homogeneous manner, when the sun's rays come, they have the same homogeneity. On the earth, it becomes of countless variations. In the same way, the sage experienced the homogeneous light of the self. Gradually, the sage passed on into the state of satta samanya. He became the very essence of all that exists. It's a hard thing to imagine. But simple way to understand, you are dreaming. In dream, you are experiencing a whole universe. In dream, you are yourself. Dream subject. Dream subject is not real you, but while dreaming, you have become dream subject, dream world, and dream experiences. But sum up all this, and it doesn't have a needle point of substance. Put in another way of summing up, you are the one who have become everything of that dream world. You are your beautiful palace. You are your loving relations. You are wondrous gardens. You are little insects. You are the ugly crow. You are the muddy junk. If you have that waking awareness, in your dream you will shout, I am everything. Ame vedam sarvam. All this sarvam is I am. Now grow up. Allow that to understand. The real I am in you has no effort to say, I am all that exists. All things of this world, they come in 5 points. Satchit, Ananda, name and form. Names and forms are projections of the mind. Forms you see, and names, concepts. Everything that you possess, there are 2 aspects. You have a house and you have a data of the house in your mind. So what is in your mind is name. What you possess is form. But names and forms, they are hiding your reality. Your reality is three-aspected. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat, you want existence. Deep down, you will never imagine that you will become non-existent. That's your reality. Chit, you want to always know more and more. Ananda, you are looking for happiness. But all these three are essentially there within you, and you are, due to ignorance, trying to find this in the world like a dream projected by the mind. Once you attain enlightenment, names and forms move away, separate name and form. That's what the basis of illusion. What is left? Satchidananda. Then again, these three are not three, just one and the same described in three ways. Absolute existence, absolute consciousness, absolute bliss. That alone is. So the practice is led to discover I am Brahman. In that process, your heart has to also recognize, oh, this world is Brahman. Come to next level. Your I am is feeling joyous to discover I am Brahman. Let your I am feel joyous to discover, oh, this is Brahman, therefore you are everything in this world. Don't be jealous of anything. You are already that. So that type of mystic experience awaits. Until then, human expectations and dreams of success are just childish games. Because no matter whatever your expectation or dream, it is transient. Aham Brahmasmi, that's your goal. Revelation. All this is Brahman. Also understand the world is not really split up. It's your mind is creating that illusion. And what you think is the world, real world, is through your nervous system. All what I'm leading to understand, what seems so real to human being, a real world, a real faces, real values of things. Ask an animal and put yourself in the shoes of the animal. The world is totally different, even in the physical looks. The sound, what seems so melodious to human being, the birds may not have the appreciation for it. And if you go further, no two persons live in the same world. Because no two fingerprints are exactly alike. Therefore, the world is Maya, illusion. So that type of experience is called Satta Samanya. Brahman alone, Sat alone exists. That alone is the reality behind all that you are experiencing. Past, present, future. Even the subtle impressions of the world process were gradually eradicated from his heart. To understand more precisely and clearly, Yoga Vasistha will give 7 steps or Sapta Bhumikas. First step is aspiration, Shubhecha. Aspiration implies you develop divine qualities, qualities that enable you to deserve spiritual progress. Adhikaritva. Adhikaritva, just to give you, I'm not going into details, but vivek, discriminative knowledge, vairagya, dispassion, qualities such as shama, serenity, dhamma, control of mind and senses, uparati, not to go after objects for the enjoyment of objects, develop detachment, detachment from fruits of karmas, faith, allowing the mind to be balanced and tranquil. World will be always a shaky world. But your mind should understand that anything that causes disturbance to you is not going to last forever. Even this will pass away. And things of the world and their changes are not really impacting on you. You have all the resources. You are essentially Brahman. So therefore, do not be shaken, no matter how things go. That's called samadhan. You are not constantly complaining about the world. And burning aspiration, in other words, your hunger for spirituality increases more and more. All this becomes first stage. Next stage called vicharana. Next stage, your mind becomes dedicated to constant understanding. Understanding what is real, who am I. That becomes your mind's spiritual addiction. Otherwise, you are addicted to where can I find pleasure? How can I get things that I like? When now I become addicted, how can I discover myself? Who am I? How joyous it is to discover that I am not confined to my body. How joyous it is to jump into the heart of everyone. How joyous to bless countless people without touching them physically. So, that type of movement is vicharana movement, second. Third movement, tanu manasi. Now your mind that has been so fat, obese, with so many illusions, that mind begins to thin out, attenuate it. In brief, you are not dominated by your anger, hate, greed, all these that inflate the mind. They have become so thinned out that your mind continues to explore the divine mystery without being interrupted by the world. And fourth step is called Sattvapatti. Now you become established. You have a perfect revelation. Now revelation has come. Your personality will undergo changes. Your revelation remains constant. You become a Jivan Mukta in the fourth step, Sattvapatti. Now the stages that come as Jivan Mukti begins to be impacting upon your personality, your nervous system. Next step comes Asam Sakti. You begin to develop an ability not to be tainted by things that you handle. Tainted imply not to become shaken by anger, hate, greed. All these are taints. But all these you will handle them. There will be time to be little agitated. There will be time to be little more cozy. But all this will not catch you. A very ordinary illustration is given. You are cutting things like jackfruit, plantains. If you put oil in your hand and you cut them, all the gluey things you will touch, they seem to come onto your fingers, but they are not there in your fingers. Similarly, you live in the world, but the world does not catch you. And that art has to be learned by, even if you are not spiritually advanced. Say, for example, you have a project to pass an examination with a higher score. Now, you have to see in your situation, your family, how situations are, and not be touched by them. Live with everything, handle all your duties, because the mind is on the project. It is not the ideal state, but just give you an idea. Just like you can do it, and you do it to a certain level. Similarly, same 1,000 times greater when you have spiritual progress. So you do not let go the duties that you do, the realities you handle. But you handle them in such a way that they are not touching you. Each day you have passed, you are not holding on to all that. You are ready for the next day. And in practice, therefore, comes the mantra DIN, do it now. Whatever you have to do it now. Don't leave it for tomorrow. Kaal kare so aaj kar. What you have to do tomorrow, what you are thinking, I'm going to do tomorrow, today my mood is not good. Kaal kare so aaj kar. Do it now. Do it today. Aaj kare so ab. And what you are going to do it today, don't leave it for evening. Do it now. Pal mein parlay hoegi. In one moment, one pal means your eyes close and open. Within that time, great catastrophe can happen. The whole world can dissolve. So if you go on leaving it for other time, bahuri karoge kab? How can you do your duties in an artistic or expert way? Yoga karmasu kaushalam. So be alert, live your life with great vigor and vitality, and stay untouched. And deep down, now coming back to those points I was saying, this is called asam sakti, detachment. Now, as you go further, deeper, all these remain, but you are now going to a deeper level. That's called asam sakti. That's padartha bhavana. Padartha bhavana, as if nothing is there. Previously we were cutting things and they didn't touch your finger. But now your only fingers are there. Nothing is there. Nothing can taint your finger. Because nothing is there. It's like you are worried about so many things and go to deep sleep. The moment you are in sleep, nothing is there. So that type of peace is experienced, but don't take it literally. Sages are not sleeping all the time. The more you have that experience, greater is your effectiveness in the world. Great sages can be, like Shankaracharya, very busy, very active. But internally and in his teachings, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Brahman alone is real. Nothing else exists. And next stage is called Turiya. Turiya, that even that description of sleep-like peace moves away. No description can be given because Brahman is not a state. Brahman is the absolute reality. And that reality alone is. So these states, soul grows, evolves through these states, and we will continue next time. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om Tat Sat.